What's going on, everybody? In this episode, we're going to deal with destructuring and default values, because if you're not careful, you can have runtime errors or exceptions thrown if you try to destructure a property that doesn't exist on an object. This is happening in two locations in our code. Specifically, in our useFetch custom hook, we have these values here. These are being destructured, and they are expected to be passed in. So what this means is a second argument is going to be passed in that is an object, and it should have these three properties. However, if they are not passed in, we will get a runtime error in the console. It'll look something like this: cannot destructure property method, which is this first one here, because the object that it's trying to destructure from is undefined. That's one area of issue. The other is how we are returning information. So currently we have three properties: data, set data, and error status, and it's being returned in an object. When you invoke this code, you will need to make sure that you are doing it properly so that we are actually assigning to an object like so. Then we will need to make sure that these property values match correctly by naming them like so, or renaming them to whatever you might want them to be. So this is the proper way of assigning the return value, and then here's where we would pass in that second argument. So you could pass in an object here, but if you don't pass in this object, or if this object doesn't have those expected properties, we still get that exception. So the default is to go into where these parameters are defined and have an equals followed by empty curly braces. And what this will do is assign an empty object if this object is undefined. So what we can do is actually see this with a console log method headers body. We'll save this and let's check out our site now. We can see that it is working and we get 3 undefined. So we no longer get that runtime error because it's going to assume that the value passed in is an empty object if it is undefined, which in this case it is. If instead it's not undefined, let's go ahead and pass in a second argument here. Well, we're still going to get that same result. Basically, the way the destructuring works is if the property doesn't exist on the object, no exception is thrown, and the value is just undefined. So what that means is if we just passed in one of these properties, let's go ahead and try it. We could say method is get as an example. Now we should get and then undefined. So the problem is not trying to destructure a property that doesn't exist. That's okay, you're just going to get undefined but no exceptions. The real problem is when you try to destructure and the thing you're destructuring is undefined. So if we say, hey, we want the default to be an empty object, we're not going to get any exceptions thrown. Now there's another area where destructuring and default values can be important, and that is to clean up our code. If you look through where we are using our custom hook, scrolling down into the display area, we have a lot of traversing that's being done. When you have a map that looks something like this, where you have to jump down multiple layers, this could be cleaned up. We could just do this initially one time at the beginning of the code, and then not have to do it every single time we want to reference those values. You can take a look at the network request to see how the information is actually structured. So let's go ahead and do a refresh here. The search term is hello. This one is actually the page we are on. The request we are looking for is this one here. And you can see how the information is structured. So you can follow this structure to get the right information. We will want to go through this structure near the beginning of our code. And as we're doing this, I'm going to console log what value we have. So we will say use effect. And in here, we can just console log our state. So console log, and we're going to take a look at this word state. So now when we take a look at the console, we see this is what we're working with when we grab data from the returned values. So if we want to go a layer deeper, we want to grab the thing with the index 0. What we can do is we can just use an array syntax like so. And when we do this, we're going to get an error because at the start, it's undefined because useFetch doesn't return the values immediately. So what we'll do is we will assign a default value of an empty array. Now it should work, and you can see we're one layer deeper into that specific word. Now we can do the same thing. This time we're with an object, so we will grab the meanings property. So to do that, we will go into that object and grab meanings. And this can be renamed to word. Similar thing, this will throw an error because by default it is undefined. So we're going to need to adjust the right hand side and just say that we want to have by default an empty array, and then within that by default an empty object, as we're one layer deeper. And this syntax is not very intuitive. This took me a lot of trial and error just to get right. But at this point, we should be in that deepest layer that we want, where we have the different parts of speech. So now that we have what we want, we can adjust what is being used in the return so that we don't have to do all of this here. So we'll just have word and word dot map. And the page should look the same, and our code would be a lot easier to work with if we needed to work with Word a lot more. Now what we can do is we can just clean up all of our console logs, so we can get rid of this here, and I think we had one inside of useFetch as well, so we'll get rid of this console log. And now our code is much more versatile. We have the ability to pass in method headers and body, and we are not punished if we decide to not pass that information in. So everything seems to be good. And we refresh, we no longer get any errors in the console. Everything seems good. We can test out a new word, and it seems to work. One Stack Overflow question that helped me get to this conclusion with the proper nesting is this one nested object and array destructuring, where they had a similar setup where they added some nested array, and they go through some different options for grabbing specific things. Here is another good example where it shows how you can choose specific indexes or leave commas before and after to grab exactly what you want. So I think some of these things could be combined to grab exactly what you're looking for. That's all I got in this video. Thank you for watching. In the next episode, we're going to take a look at some of our other requests to make sure everything is working across our page. So specifically, we need to update our post requests to be able to add data to our web page. Stay tuned for that. I'll see you then.